Hey, what's up, guys? You already know why I'm making this video. A lot has happened in the last hour, 2 hours. A lot of big college football news. Um, One, USC, they lost the Pac-12 title game tonight to Utah, 47-24. I caught like basically the fourth quarter. Um, Quick thoughts from what I saw from that fourth quarter. Caleb Williams, whatever happened in that first half, I guess. He was basically out there on the bum leg. No mobility. The Utah ate him apart. Um, when they got into the red zone, I knew something weird was going to happen. I knew he was going to throw a pick, and he did just that. He threw a pick in the end zone, and from there it just kind of snowballed, and that was the end of the game. So, with that being said, um, hold on, let me get it small. All right. So let me go to the rankings real quick. And so right now, college football rankings. So right now, you see it right here. So USC has lost to Utah. That essentially knocks them out. There's no possible way, even if everyone up top lost, they'd be too far behind. Um, this puts Ohio State and Alabama essentially, you know, who knows what could happen. If the top three stay the same, they all win. There's no mess, you know. And then you get down to number four. Um, the problem, the thing with this loss is it really gives Alabama a lot more ammunition to get in, because a lot of people will say, well, Alabama had the better strength of schedule, even though they have two losses. They were two, I guess, credible losses. Ohio State has that really bad loss to Michigan. So I think a lot of people will use that against them now that USC lost. Um, I guess I don't think Tennessee has a chance. Penn State doesn't have a chance. Clemson's definitely not getting it, even if they win. Um, Maybe if they win resounding. I'm talking about they blow out North Carolina. I don't think they'd have enough of a case to jump all the way to 4. You know what I mean? Even at 9. Um, I guess if they really want to give it to a conference champion, but then you would have a case. Utah would have somewhat of a case, but then again, they can't. They're not going to jump 7 spots because they don't have a strength. They don't have a better resume than even Tennessee, who has 2 bad losses. So there's a lot going on for 4. I think if everything stays the same, which I believe will stay the same, um, then yeah, I most likely it would be Alabama. I'm saying it right now. Alabama gets in, um, because I think they'll use this loss pretty much opened up the door for them to get in. Like I said, they have 2 really, I guess, good losses. There's no such thing as a good loss, but they have 2 good losses, and they play in the tougher conference. They have the better strength for resume, um, which is a shame because I mean they got the college football. They got what they want. They got 2 SEC teams in the playoffs. So congratulations, SEC. You finagled your way in somehow. I don't know. So anyway, and also probably the biggest news of the night. Let's go here. Deion Sanders is going to accept the job at Colorado. Now, there's been a lot of noise about this guy ever since I guess it started around game day, college game day, when they went to Jackson State. Um, it was just nonstop, like every week. It was like, oh, the new thing. It was Nebraska. It was Colorado. It was South Florida. It was Who else? I think there was another team. Auburn. They were talking about Auburn. They were talking about maybe Texas A&M. They got rid of Jimbo Fisher, and it got to a point where it was just tiresome. Man, everyone was talking about even the guys that covered Jackson State all the time and all the HBCU stuff. That stuff was getting irritating, man. It stopped being about the game. It started being about Deion Sanders and what he was going to do. In my personal opinion, I didn't think he was going to take any jobs. I think he was going to stay. I think he was going. In my opinion, I expected him to at least stay for his at least till his first recruiting class graduated. Um, so that's essentially everyone that came in 2020. So like pretty much whoever came with the class with Shador Sanders. I was expecting him to at least stick it out till then, or maybe even until like Travis Hunter left, and then he was going to leave, which would have been 4 or 5 years anyway. But he took the job. Now people are saying we've already had. I've watched a lot of videos, a lot of people, their takes on it, and a lot of people, especially in the comment section, they're really hard pressed. Like they didn't want to leave, and I agree. I didn't want to leave either. I'm nowhere near Mississippi. I didn't want to leave, especially Colorado. One, people say, so they always bring up this thing as a bad job. Yeah, a lot of jobs seem like a bad job, but someone has to take the job. Someone has to, take on the challenge. You know what I'm saying? The programs and the team is not going to fix itself. Someone has to get in there and do the dirty work. And people want to bring in, oh well, I don't want to, bring. There's always some racial aspects. So it's like, oh, we always, black people always get the crumbs. They always get the worst possible job, but they got to do the most to build themselves up and build the team back up. You know what I'm saying? Like especially in the NFL, it's always like, oh well, this guy's always he's a hire now, but that's only because like the Cleveland Browns have a position open. It's never like, oh, there's some dude's going to take over for Bill Belichick or whatever. I'm like, look, man, it doesn't matter, dude. It don't matter what nationality you are. A lot of coaches take quote unquote bad jobs. A job is a job. If it's a bad job is a job that is going to pay you crumbs, going to treat you bad. It's a bad work environment, and I guess subjectively, if you're unhappy, or I guess that could be objectively you're unhappy about what your job and what it entails. You know what I mean? And I mean that's life. Everyone can't get the premium cushy jobs. Someone has to build the foundation. Hell, even when Bill Belichick took over for the Patriots, they weren't a juggernaut. That wasn't a great job, but he took over the job and he, turned them into what they are today. Turned them into what they are today. Dabo and Clemson, they weren't a great job. Who else out there? Trying to think. Let's see who's Michigan. Even Michigan at the time when Harbaugh took over, yeah, it was a prestigious school, but it wasn't a great job. There's a lot of people that didn't want that job, especially the last few coaches they had beforehand who kind of soured the program. They didn't. No one wanted to take that, but he took on the job. He was like, you know what? I'll go back to my alma mater, take the job, and look where he's at. He's a game away from getting back to the college football playoff game. You know what I'm saying? So somebody has to coach these teams. You know what I mean? And he made this of his own free will. Ain't nobody forced him to take the job. He took the job himself. It is what it is, bro. And it's kind of sad because people were, I guess they were so terrified that this man was going to leave that they weren't appreciating him in the moment. Everything he was bringing to Jackson State, everything he was bringing to the city, the state. If we want to get it to that point, because no one really talks about Mississippi other than like even the way they were talking about Jackson State, they weren't even talking about that for Ole Miss and Mississippi State has been bad. Ole Miss had a little bit of, a little shine before the Alabama game, and then it kind of went downhill from there. But you know, it just it happens, man. Now, in my like perfect world scenario, I would have loved for him to stay there and coach till he got old, like really, and coach until he got old. Pull like I said, like an Eddie Robinson type, Paterno, Bowden, Frank Beamer type thing, where he coaches 20+ years and has a whole bunch of success and wins a bunch of titles and sends a whole bunch of people to the NFL, and them guys win a bunch of championships and all that. That's what a lot of people wanted. But stuff happens. And it's not like it ain't like he can't come back. You know what I mean? There are a lot of guys that coach in one place, leave, and then come back and have a second stint. It happens all the time. What's to say that he doesn't come back one day? You know what I mean? He might do the same thing. He might coach there for a couple years, and then he sees like, man, this just isn't the job for me. And you think Jackson State is not? You think Jackson State gonna keep this man out? If something happens 3 years down the line and Colorado's, you know, still a mess and he just can't fix that, and Jackson State is looking for a new coach because the next coach up couldn't handle, keeping the program running and all that. You think Jackson State ain't gonna be looking for him at the first sign? The minute if that happened, the minute they fired the Jackson State coach 3 years down, you think they're not? That's the first guy they're gonna call. It's Deion Sanders. Hey, you trying to come back and coach us again? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because I enjoyed the content. I enjoyed Well Off Media and HBCU Game Day and D pregame show and who was Jeff Likely and First Letter. Who else did I watch? Big Tiger. Was it Corner? Was it Corner Sports? I forgot what they call it. Sports Corner Net, something like that. I watched that guy. I watched more HBCU content in the last like 2-3 months than I have in my entire life. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was because of him. But I mean, I'm not going. I think the problem is the people down there and the people that were supporting this. I think they're. It's unfortunate what I'm about to say, but I really believe, unfortunately, that all this stuff is just going to be like a fad. It's going to wear out after, because it says right here, he's planning to leave after the SWAC title game. So that means he's not even coaching. If they win, he's not even coaching the Celebration Bowl. So they're going to have an interim coach. One of the assistants out there, one of the coordinators will take over. And unfortunately, this is like a big. This will affect everything very negatively. Unfortunately, I don't want to be negative, but we know what's going to happen. It's going to go back to normal or somewhat normal. They'll still have that little bit of buzz, I don't think the team is going to get, unless the team next year is like really bad with him gone. I think they'll have a little bit of buzz, they'll have a small, they'll have that small little light of the candle, you know what I'm saying? But the way they were talking about it, I don't think I don't think anyone in the SWAC is having game day coming unless FAMU is like undefeated at some point, like deep in the season next year. I think that may happen, but this stuff happens. And unfortunately, with the recruiting stuff, coaches don't have the luxury, unfortunately, of staying to the very, very end. They kind of have to leave at some point before the season finishes. You know what I mean? Because they got to, go to the new school and get that sorted out while it's that time of year. Get them early recruits. But yeah, man, when I got that notification, I was a legit shocked. I didn't think he would take it. like I said, I expected them. I wanted them to say at least do that first, at least do his first recruiting class. I wanted to see if he could have continued the momentum because if he had stayed and won like like 2 or 3 of these swag titles in a row and like had it become like a legit juggernaut and won like I don't know like where they were winning like they're winning like 11, 12 games a year. They're winning a whole bunch of swag titles and celebration bowls. That stuff that would have been cool to see them become like a dynasty. But unfortunately, things happen. Sometimes things happen for the best. Sometimes they don't. Um, yeah, I feel for the people in Jackson. That whole community, and they were so behind them, and it was just like sometimes the best things don't last the longest. That's just an unfortunate reality. Um, I am. This also concerns the players too because like is Travis Hunter really going to stay? Is he going to stay in Jackson after Deion Sanders leaves? Um, Everyone's saying he'll leave. He'll go wherever. He'll go to Colorado with him, um, which will probably happen. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't notice at the beginning, but Shiloh Sanders had already transferred, so he can't. Can you try? No, unless you get injured. I don't think he can't transfer again. So he's kind of. I don't want to say stuck, but it is what it is. He can't. He can't transfer again. He can't get another year eligibility. And then Shador. Um, what I mean. I think he'll leave too. Only because I don't. I know people like I know people, praise him, and he can play. But I think I've watched enough games this season. I don't think he's that talented where this guy is going to be like I don't see him playing on Sundays as a starter. If he gets into the league, I think if he gets drafted, um, I think he'll get drafted purely, well, not purely, but he'll get drafted off name, obviously. He has talent. I don't think he'll be a high draft pick. The reason I'm bringing this up is because he'll go into his junior season next year. If he was like, it all depends on what happens in the offseason. If he's like a top, on the like the Mel Kiper thing doesn't matter. But maybe next year if he's on like Mel Kiper's like big boy, like top 5 QB prospects thing, then I would see him staying. Like I'm not gonna go to Colorado for 1 year and basically do a rebuild, and then I'm gonna leave for the league anyway afterwards. I think he'll stay. He'll put up his numbers, get better, and just try to go from there. Or maybe he'll stay and finish his career in Jackson and graduate, finish the 2 years off, and he'll be like, why do all that? I got 2 years left anyway. I can survive without my dad. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, yeah. Let me just look at this real quick. I think there's really not much that everyone doesn't already know. Um, so he called a kid in the transfer portal, encouraged him not to make a decision because he was okay. Different source close to a player committed to play at Colorado said that early this week a current Jackson State member called to check in on the player's Colorado commitment. He also asked for some film of the player to evaluate him. They weren't exactly hiding anything, so it seemed like it was a done deal. It is. Yeah. They're not doing a great job of hiding this. If he backs out of this, there'll be a huge problem for Colorado. Yeah, so I went through this whole spiel. I went through all this stuff. I went through this whole, you know, I guess dialogue, monologue, whatever. So it's not 100% confirmed. Like he hasn't signed the dotted line. It's like a soft confirmation that he's leaving. Um, so there's still time. Like everything I be saying could be all for nothing. I could be making this video for nothing, and he ends up changing his mind. Um, but I don't think he would do that. I think if he's already put in the commitment to go to Colorado, then he's gone. You know what I mean? And stats 26-5, 22-2 the last two. Um, so this right here, Sanders expecting to inform his team that he's leaving after the game. I think they already know. I think they already know. I'm pretty sure all them boys, you know, keep up with ESPN and Fox Sports and all that to some degree. I'm sure they got the notification like tonight that coach is leaving. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, Colorado fired their coach in October of 0-5 and 8-15 record in 3 years as a coach. Mike Sanford filled his interim with 1-6. So that team, there's so much work he has to do. Yeah, we know it's iconic. Yeah, yeah. All right, so yeah, that's about it. So yeah, all in all, just to wrap this up, USC lost. So I'm calling it now. The top three teams will win. Alabama gets in. The thing with Deion Sanders, I think people, for the most part, were expecting him to leave. I guess people didn't expect it to happen this soon. But, things happen, life changes. Um, it is what it is, man. Yeah. So that's all I got to say about this. This is some major news, man. Like, that's crazy, man. This is some major news. Ah, man, it's so crazy. But yeah, we'll see. I'll be watching the SWAC championship game tomorrow, and I'll be watching the other championship games. The who else is left? The Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12, and there's also the ACC. And there was a couple other. There was a couple other. Uh, I think they came on tonight. There was some other bowl games that came on tonight. Let me see. It was two games that was on tonight or the shut up the other night. The AAC championship. I'm gonna check that out too. I'm gonna see what happens with that. Um, I could have swore there were what? Oh, I had the top. I had it on top 25. Okay. So we got the MAC championship, and then we got Valparaiso versus New Mexico State. Okay, that's weird. Okay. Then we got Coast Carolina and Troy in the Sun Belt Championship. That'll be a good game. The Mountain West Championship. I forgot all about. I saw an ad for that when I was watching the USC game. And yeah. Oh, these are two games that came one night. So the MAC. Was this the MAC championship? This can't. This is the MAC champ. This is not the MAC championship game. Anyway, and Conference USA championship game. So there's a lot of good football. The final week for to crown some champions, and then after that, we'll get to we'll start bowl season in a few weeks. Oh, and then we have the Heisman, which I think will be next week. I think it'll be next week. Next Saturday is the Heisman. So yeah, I'm excited for that. There's a lot of good football left, guys. So don't sleep on it. The season is nowhere. We got a lot of football. We still got a month of football, of college football left, and then we got the 2 more months of pros. So we got a lot of football coming up. I'm excited. There will be more news, more videos, especially Sunday as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.